All right, everyone. Welcome back. Tonight, I have a really special episode. For those who have been following the Leon Block since its inception in December, I did an episode, a couple of episodes concerning adoption. And tonight is an update on a specific couple that I'm really excited to get an update on and see where they're at currently. So stay tuned for that.
Black men are 2.5 times more likely to be killed by cops than white men.
They don't want us to succeed.
How much more do we have to take?
Time, and it was me, my family, Michael's family, at my parents' house opening gifts. We were all done opening gifts, and I'm still sitting there. Next thing you know, Michael comes up from behind me, gives me a box, and I'm like, "Oh, I have another gift. Okay." I open it up, and you're gonna see me choked up because my husband wrote a poem about our family growing, and in there was paperwork for the adoption agency that we were gonna go through, and a check that our family had chipped in money to help us pay the initial fees for the application fees. And I could not read the poem. I was breaking, like I was sobbing. It was a very emotional time, and I once that memory comes up soon, I will post it. You can see it, but it's been a very emotional ride. I've had heartbreaks. I've cried in the shower. I've ugly cried at my desk at work. I have anxiety and depression. I've had anxiety attacks because of this, and I've gotten professional help. But it's not an easy road by any means. I don't want to sugarcoat it for anyone, but I do believe it's worth it. And anyone who is, especially if you are a person of color, LGBT, I cannot recommend it enough. Whether it be adoption or foster care, I recommend it. It's not easy. I'm speaking very positive right now, but it's very possible that that tomorrow I'll be cursing the name of my caseworker.
Sure.
But it happens.
Nothing in life is ever easy. So, I mean,
nothing worth happening is ever easy.
Arden says, beautiful. All children deserve loving and caring parents and guardians. Yeah. Leslie said, I'm here crying. I don't know how you're not crying. I'm so proud of you, but you bring up the video and I'm done. Where all the tissues? Use as like a last option,
exactly.
Last resort
like the lesser of all evils, basically, is what
right.
And so I can't speak to the racism part of that. I know it exists, and I'm pretty sure that some people might have gotten rejected because of their race. They might have not, but they probably don't know. Yeah. They probably suspect, but they probably don't know, because they're not going to go all right and say, "Oh no, you're black. We don't want you to adopt."
I mean, it could have happened to us on paper. We just don't know, but nothing blatant.
Yeah, because we've had a couple kids where they're like, "Oh, it's not going to be a fit," but we weren't told why, and we're like, "Okay, is it? I don't know. It could be because we're gay. Is it because I'm Latino, or is it? I don't know, because the kids were white, so I don't think it was because oh, he's white. Could it be because we're Latino? Now we have a profile, because they do make a profile. It does include our picture and our dogs with us, in front of our house, and it has a profile on us, our experiences, and what we want to get, so they can see us. So they know that he may be Michael Ortiz, but he is white, and they can see me, and they're like, "Oh, okay, he's clearly not white." So we might have gotten rejected because of that, but they're not going to tell you, and that's the thing. Like, that's what sucks, is because, like, how can you combat that when you don't know? And it's like, this child could have had an amazing home. I mean, at least we would try to make it an amazing home. That's right. The goal. You don't always succeed as a parent, because no one's perfect. Sometimes parents.
No parent is perfect.
Exactly.
And that's what the takeaway.
The fact of the matter is that we want to try. We want to be there for this child. And if you're turning us down because of my race, or because we're gay, like, really? And it breaks my heart, because like we had to turn the child down because he has special needs that we.
All right, so those were two clips from almost a year ago now. That was in December of 2020. And we're damn near through with 2021. And I know so much has changed for me. So I can only imagine what has changed for you. There was one piece that I didn't put in the clip because those clips, I wanted to just kind of give a precursor to what this episode would be about. But there was a whole story arc to that episode. And I think for viewers, it touched our hearts to hear about the child that y'all had close to the holidays. And I just want to know if that's okay, if you would like to let viewers know what has happened with that situation, and then we can springboard from there.
Yeah, definitely. I got a lot to say about that one. But before I do that, let me turn off my AC because I'm having a hard time hearing, and my AC
no
is
problem.
making it worse. So unprofessional. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Well, you are fine.
Okay. No, I'm like, my phone is just, yeah. Anyway, no. That was something that the last time we spoke, I in that clip, I even said, like, oh, right now I'm speaking very positively, but in a few I might be talking very angry about it, and that's something that excuse me, really, it was the case. I had my moments that were very bad. Like, I would like cry in my shower or cry at work, and there were moments where I felt okay. He The day before he left, we were supposed to have just Mike, me, and him. Just our last day with him, just spend time with him. But I felt that was very selfish because we we had, like I said in the last video, we have a very big support system, and they love him too.
Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. I have.
That's okay.
So let me real quick let me shake this up real quick. So I told you before we started that I was putting dinner in the pressure cooker, and you told me those things scare you.
Yes.
I was like, "What are you talking about? Why would you scare that?" That just scared me. It's done. But listen, it's really not that bad, and it's awesome. Like, you should try it. Just keep it in the back at the end of the counter in your kitchen. You should be just fine. So for anybody watching, go get a pressure cooker, but also have an air fryer too. Ditch the mic.
I was gonna say the time of the pressure cooker is over. It's all about the air fryer, which I don't have yet. Still, I want one.
I want one too.
There's one at Target that has 2 compartments, so you can cook 2 different things at the same time. It's a Ninja one, and this is not sponsored, but it's
right. But you know what? I should, because I use Ninja like every day, and for smoothies. So you know what? Just because you said Ninja, I will definitely look into that one, because I would trust that one over anything else.
Yep, I can cook my fries in one and my wings in the other one, and I'm good.
See, that's what I'm saying.
But and I want to apologize in advance. I was sick recently. I'm better, and it wasn't COVID. Thank God, I got tested. But I still have the cough, so that'll be with me for a while, I'm sure. And I just realized I look like Cher from Clueless right now.
Stop. Why'd you say that? Because I love it though. Like, it looks awesome, and you know what? It reminds me of the Yellow Ranger. So.
Yeah, nice.
Right.
It's my favorite. Yellow's my favorite color. So yeah.
Yeah.
But,
and it looks great on you. So yeah.
Thank you. But yeah. So we shared that last day with I almost said his name, with my family, because it was very selfish of me to be like, nah, you guys helped me out, you guys bonded with him, you guys love him. I mean, you saw all the comments in the last interview, and stuff, so like, it'd be very cruel of me to not let you guys have a final day to say goodbye. So we did that, and then we just woke up very early the next day and spent a few hours with him by ourselves. When I tell you, like, I've been through some stuff in my life, and nothing was like that. Like, I've had foster kids leave as well, and but this one we were really hoping to, like, hoping beyond hope that we'd be able to adopt him. And that's just, it wasn't meant to be, and we're still dealing with it, because I was moving on, excuse me. I was waiting for that phone call because, like I said in the last time, I don't believe she's ready to have him back. Like nothing against her because it's not her fault that she has, what she has, but the mental illness. But I don't think she was ready.
Can I
And then I
ask,
get a phone call in April.
were
Yeah,
you
I get.
able to keep or be able to be told what was going on with them, or keep tabs or correspondence with her and the kid?
No, no, because I mean that's really up to her because she's the birth mother. If she would have said yes, then we would have been able to continue contact and
And she
see
said
what
no.
ended up.
She
But she
declined.
didn't say no. She said yes at first, and then I remember his birthday was in January, and we were thinking we were still gonna have him then. So we actually bought him a few things for the party because he liked the cartoon show Octonauts, and we were gonna have an Octonauts themed party, and nothing. So I was like, all right, well, can we at least speak to him on his birthday? We bought a cake and everything. I made a little Octonaut sign for it and everything. Went to my mom's house, nothing, no contact, nothing. Like I couldn't video chat or nothing. So I'm like, oh, well, I'm so sorry, guys. I guess we can't sing happy birthday to him. And my mom's like, nope. So we ended up having a picture of him next to the cake, and we sang happy birthday to the picture. How depressing is that? Like, yeah. So she had like no interest in maintaining contact. So when I got a phone call in April about him, I was caught off guard.
So what happened in April?
So after he left up until April, I was obsessed with the idea that he might come back because I was sure she wasn't ready.
Right.
Like I'm not trying to throw shade her way.
Yeah, no.
I just didn't think she was ready.
Right.
And I would check. I always sleep with my phone on vibrate, like as a rule, because I just don't want to get woken up. Like if you're in trouble, I'll just find out on the news the next day. I don't care. Like, but when he left, I started sleeping with my phone off of vibrate. I just didn't want to miss that phone call.
Yeah.
And we went to Great Wolf Lodge in February, and I would be leaving the water like every 5 minutes, check my phone to see. I made sure I didn't miss the phone call. It was becoming an obsession, and I was like, "This is not good. This is unhealthy. So I need to move on and be ready for the next kid."
But,
so I started putting my.
That's a grieving stage,
and
I think it's important to acknowledge that.
Yes.
Moving on is necessary. Yes, but
yes.
that is grieving.
Yes. It is. I mean, like, when we all do it in our own ways, but I know that me personally, I don't move on well.
Okay.
I hold on to stuff like to an unhealthy degree, and
so you had to ground yourself and literally say, like, Jose, chill. Like I have to.
Exactly. So I started sleeping with the phone on vibrate, and the moment I did that, the very next morning, I wake up, voicemail from my caseworker about him.
Wow.
I call, and they're like, the county called. They want to know, would you be willing to take him back? You didn't pick up, so I just told them yes because I figured that's the answer you want. I'm like, you guessed right. I would have been very mad if you said no. But then what happened is they said, okay, well, that's good. I'll let them know, but first they have to find him. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? What do you mean you need to find him? And they're like, well, he was apparently given to a friend and somewhere in New York, but we don't know where in New York. And I'm like, do you know what friend? No. And I got panicky because I remember when we first got him, she was off her medications and she gave him to a friend. And we found out later on that this friend, she didn't know for very long. So I got a phone call in April and I got told, oh, she went off her meds in February and she gave him to a friend. I felt like history was repeating itself.
Yeah.
But only this friend was in New York and they didn't know how long he was there, if she's known that friend for a while, or if it's just.
And there's always cycles to this shit, and you felt it because you built that bond and connection.
Exactly. And I had a bond with her too.
Right.
I would speak with her. I moved heaven and earth so she can have a Halloween with her kid.
You
I
knew
had a
when
bond
you
with
felt
her
it, you
too,
felt.
so I kind of got a feeling for her.
Right.
And I was like, she's not ready. And I was proven right. And thankfully they did find him safe and sound. So they said when he comes back to Pennsylvania, he's gonna go to you. So I'm like, that's all I need to know.
Right. So
we went out to buy him things he's gonna need because when he left us, he was 11 months old, and now he's like over a year. Excuse me. So I said he's gonna need new clothes. He's gonna need like he's gonna eat like more stuff, so I gotta buy more food. We went out, we spent close to $500 on stuff for him out of pocket. Like we didn't, like, we didn't save up for this. We just did it. And right when we were about to leave Target, I get a text message, not even a phone call, a text message saying, "Oh, they decided to give him to his grandmother instead."
Where the hell was the grandmother before?
Oh, I got comments on that one. Because when the first time he went to us, she was found unfit. Because his birth mother, was in foster care herself. So his mother never went back to his grandmother.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
She aged out of foster care, and that's when they reunited.
Wow.
So because she had a child in foster care and never got the child back,
then we just say there's cycles to this.
Mm-hmm. See what I mean about cycles? Yep. And because she was in foster care and never got her kid back, I guess she was deemed unfit or whatever the case was, because he went to us, and she never. And now they're giving him to her. Come to find out, his caseworker that he has now, the baby, is the same caseworker his mom had when she was in foster care.
You're kidding me.
Nope. And that's why she
said, is this a family caseworker?
She put in a good word for the mother, for the grandmother. And I'm like, what kind of good word are you putting in for the grandmother when she didn't get her daughter back? So
I'm sorry. This is wow. This is
unreal.
And it's
like, I mean, I'm laughing now, but inside I'm screaming in rage.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because I miss him so much. Like I watch videos at work and I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, but I worry because, like, the baby, he was very much, he had no stranger danger at all. And he would go to anybody. Like if we brought a friend in to hang out for, like, we had game night, any friend wanted to pick him up and hold him, he would be laughing and say yes and like get picked up. He had no stranger danger, which I didn't like.
Right.
Because stranger danger is a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, we went for Halloween. We moved heaven and earth to make that happen so she can at least have 2 hours with her son. And he went with her, no problem. Like, he had a good relationship with his mom, and she loves her son. I have no doubt about that. But the grandma was late. And when the grandma came and she tried to pick him up, he screamed bloody murder. And I'm like, he loves everybody. He really? Really? And this is who they gave him to. And I don't know if he's doing good. I don't know if he's doing well. I pray that she's doing good by him. But like, I'm very concerned because when we got him, he was almost 6 months. And she said that in those 6 months, she's only seen him twice. And I'm like, but you live like a half hour away from them. Why would you only see him twice? So then this happens, and I'm like, look, one of two things is happening here. Either one, she was once again an absentee grandma, which is not good.
Right.
Or B, she was around, and she did not report that her daughter was off her meds. Neither scenario is a good one.
Right.
So that just, it left a really bad taste in her, especially my husband. As much as because I was moving on or taking steps to move on. And they offered him back and then said, never mind. So it was like having my heart ripped out all over again. My husband was not moving on at all, though.
I was thinking that Mike was going to be the one to just like, look, like, we got to do this. And here, he's the one that's like holding on. Wow.
No, because the bond that those two had.
Right.
Jontel, like, we had the nursery, we had a crib, and right next to the crib, a rocking chair that he wanted for any kid that we got. And he would give him a bath every night. That was his ritual. Like, I would not interfere. He would give that baby a bath every day, dress him up in his pajamas, take him downstairs so that daddy can give him a kiss goodnight. Then he would go upstairs, rock him to sleep in the thing, hum him a song or maybe sing him a song, and then put him in the crib and stuff. And I'm telling you, I could stand there and watch him do that like forever.
Oh.
Like, the bond my husband had with that baby was beautiful. And he's hurting. My husband doesn't do tears. He doesn't cry. He internalizes a lot. He doesn't do tears. Like, I can, like, before this incident, like, I think I've seen him cry maybe twice in the 15 years we've been together, So
what?
I mean,
there's like that, but like, dang, yeah. Mike.
And he's he shed quite a few tears over this. I've had to hold him while he cried, and it's heartbreaking, and because we love this kid and we try to move on. We've gone for quite a few kids for adoption, and
That's what I was going to get to.
It's just hasn't worked out.
So let me ask, I'm going to backtrack real quick to give everyone a cliff notes of what led you to this journey, what led you up to the point of when I came across this situation in December, to catch everyone up to where we are now.
Well, I knew for a while, and last interview you found out just how long that was, how young I was when I knew I wanted to be a dad. It's something that I always wanted, and my husband not so much. And we've had those discussions prior to marriage because you should have those discussions among many others before you commit to marriage. And we decided we were going to go for it. And then he was very wishy-washy. Like 1 minute, like, nah, I don't want to do it. Yes, I want to do it. Finally, we decided we're going to go through with this. And we were going to go full on adoption. Go to an adoption agency, sign up, do what we have to do. And we weren't able to do that. It was too expensive. It would have been like $45,000 plus to adopt one child. And even though you don't have to pay that all up front, there's not a lot of time in between each stage for us to be raising that money right away. Like I've had four foster kids since I started. I've bought clothes, I've bought diapers, I've bought food, I've bought toys, video games, stuff that they need and want. So I know that I can take care of a child. At what point I had 3 children, 2 of them were babies and stuff. And we took care of them. We made it work. And that was during the pandemic when I was not working because hardly anyone was. And Michael was the only one working because he was essential. And we made it work. So we could afford taking care of a child or children, multiple. We just can't afford $45,000 up front.
Right.
And we were made to feel very bad about it. Like we're going to terminate you because, you're not able to meet the requirements in a timely fashion, yada, yada, yada. They were very snobby about it. And we were like,
so
okay.
Transactional and like,
And that's why I said, like, it doesn't, you walk into the building, it's so warm and friendly, pictures of success stories. But when you talk about it, it pretty much comes down to a business transaction. It's all about numbers. Adoption, they try to shame you for not even considering adoption, but adoption is so expensive. I say 45,000 plus, but that's what we were quoted as. In other states or in other areas, it could be more.
For me, I think that is probably the biggest deterrent is the cost of it all. Knowing that there's like other options that are like damn near free. It just baffles me. Like I can understand other means that require surgeries and things like that being expensive, but to just take care of a child, you shouldn't have to pay anything. Like just for the expense for that child.
Last time I was like, oh, I don't want to get too political. I'm not afraid of doing that anymore because I'm tired of this. Okay. We have so many people, especially now, it's a hot topic issue with Texas and how they're trying to outlaw, going to extremes to outlaw abortion, where like the doctors can be arrested and whatever. And like, I'm like, oh my God. And it's like, you know what? You guys you don't fucking care what happens to that child after they're born. You just want to make sure they are born. Mm-hmm. But look at the foster care system. Like I'm in that right now. And I see so many things that it seems like it's more about the parent than the child. The way things are handled, and I'll get more into that in more detail as we go on, I guess. But the laws that are being made are insane. Like you want people to have these children, which I mean, I personally, I am against abortion personally, but that does not mean that I get to speak that onto someone and tell them what they have to do.
Thank you. That's what I'm saying.
So like, like if I don't want to, like, if my sister were to, like, God forbid, do that, I would not approve. But that is her choice, not mine.
It's not your body. Yeah.
Exactly.
Has nothing
It's
to
not
do
my
with you.
choice.
Right.
So I can't speak what I personally believe onto her and make it her beliefs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and what life would that child have? There are children that just slip through the cracks sometimes and don't even get into the system. And then the children who do get in the system, but the way their cases are handled, they're back and forth. I'm back with mom and dad. I'm back in foster care. I'm back with mom and dad. I'm back in foster care. And they end up with emotional issues, and it's just insane. And Michael and I have experienced quite a few things where we're like, you guys are breaking rules, or you're breaking your own rules. And I don't understand, like, what's going on. Like, you guys just are baffling me. Like, I don't know what is proper procedure anymore because I just don't understand. And it's a lot of confusion. Like, I'm more confused now than I was in December when we last talked about what is supposed to happen. Yeah. Like, I remember I think you commented on it. I made a post about Christian groups, and they're the ones really pushing for this anti-abortion thing. And they're pushing also to try to prevent us from being foster parents. And I'm like, that's really funny because you guys like to really pick and choose. Because we've had, and this is more than just one instance, we've had Christian agencies where obviously, we're gay, so we're sinners, we're an abomination, as they like to say to us, Old Testament, and yet here you are. I didn't contact you. You contacted us, and you're asking us to take this child. You're asking us to take this child. I'm like, okay, that's a red flag for me because we're an abomination, and you're coming to me.
Right. I'll be like, do tell.
Mm-hmm. Like, spill that tea. What's going on?
Right.
They tell me that these kids, they have special needs, which I'm not against. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But they're having a hard time getting these kids into homes. And I know that, and I looked into it today. I wanted to know, like, is that really a thing? And it is. It's hard to find homes for kids with special needs, autistic, Down syndrome, stuff like that. And I think that's one group that we didn't really touch on last time. We talked about race and stuff like that, but we didn't touch on kids with special needs. And I remember, like, they push hard for that, like, to get them into homes. And I was like, you know what? I'm a little bit insulted because you have a kid that no one else wants for whatever reason. And you are so desperate for them to get a home that you're willing to overlook our sin and place them with us. But the other kids that you consider normal, and I'm using air quotes because I hate that term, normal, right. But the other normal kids, you wouldn't dare offer them to us. So you're willing to break your own rules, your own religious rules and laws and, your values for kids that no one else wants, and you kind of just want to, like, just get them placed already.
So how does that make you feel?
Insulted.
You were quick with that.
Oh,
I know that.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, when you asked me if I had more to talk about, and I said, I'm ready. Because it is so insulting to me because, like, I mean, I'm gay, and I also consider myself a Christian. I do believe in God. I mean, maybe I don't practice as much as I probably should, but but it's insulting to me because, like, you see in the news these hardcore, and I'm not speaking against all Christians because not all Christians are like this. Right. I don't like to overgeneralize, but the ones that are speaking out the loudest are the ones who are speaking out against me and people like me.
That's true.
And it hurts when I'm seeing, like, I'm seeing the hate towards my people.
Those aren't Christians.
No, they're not. Thank you. They're not, because I'm like, if you were, you would know. Your Bible does not tell you to condemn me. Your Bible does not tell me to tell you to prevent me from having a kid.
Correct.
And I'm like, and I'm sorry. Like, I mean, every time you can see a Republican senator or whatever tapping his foot in the bathroom and going and getting arrested for being with a guy or whatever.
Talk about
it.
What?
So like when you speak out against me and that with that passion that I'm gonna ruin this child's life, I'm like, honey, who's in your closet?
Yes, talk about it.
Like, and it's insulting to me. Like you're willing to overlook my sin and whatever. And it really bothers me because you're left in a position of thinking, should I even give them my energy and like and give them my anger and whatever, or should I just focus on the child who's in
Right.
me?
That
And
is
I wanna
so
take the big
valid,
over.
and I completely, totally, 100% feel that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a very valid dilemma, and it's a seesaw. How the hell can you balance that?
I've yet to figure that part out. Like, I mean, we
Right.
have, I mean, and it's not just even like the fact that it's the whole gay thing. It's just the fact of the type of child it is. It adds to my anger because it's
Of
like
course.
you're not offering me a kid that doesn't have special needs. You're not offering me a kid that the world would consider normal.
Right.
You're offering me kids who are on the autistic spectrum. You're offering me kids that are, have other issues, major traumas. And I would say no because I felt like I wasn't equipped to handle that situation for that child and give that child what he or she needs. And then they come at me with all these rebuttals like, oh, well, we can do this. Or how about this? I'm like, you are like a pit bull on a bone. You will not let it go. Why is that? Why is that?
Wow.
Like you're overlooking the fact that I'm gay. You're ignoring the fact that we said no.
Like you said, red flags out
Yeah,
the
red
ass.
flags
That's
everywhere.
not
We had
okay.
one kid. And this was not a Christian organization, so I want to make that clear. This current kid, and Michael and I have not made a decision yet. Well, we made a decision, but we were ignored. And it's a special kid needs kids. He's nonverbal. He's autistic. Seems like a very sweet kid, and I feel like we could handle this kid. But we have an issue with the fact that they're requiring visitations with the birth family, I guess even after adoption, and I don't know how that works, like why that's a thing. Because if you couldn't get your act together to get your kid back and your rights are terminated, why do I
Right.
have to keep your relationship intact after I adopt the kid? He's my kid now. I don't get that. So that's why we're
I can
hesitating with
understand how that
that.
could be
And we told
traumatizing
them
for the
what?
kid, too. I understand that could probably be traumatizing for the kid too.
Well,
Or
no,
possibly.
because he's on the spectrum and he's autistic, like, and he has a relationship with them already. It's kind of hard to like have them kind of show, from what I'm being told. I don't have experience, so they don't really like show a bond like other kids do. But I feel like it'll be even harder for us to bond with the kid, or have him bond with us, I should say, if he's still spending so much time with his birth family.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to make the kid
I
be with
understand
his
that.
family, let him be with his family. Why give him to us? So, like, but we told him no because there were other issues. Like, he's scared of dogs, and I have a dog who's very in your face friendly, and I don't want to traumatize the kid.
Right.
And the family wants visitations, and like, they don't live nearby, and we can't make that work. So I was like, we said no. And they're like, oh, but now they said, oh, but maybe we will drive the dad to visit with the kid. We'll drive him to Wilkes-Barre and he can meet up with the kid somewhere. And the grandma can only see him once a month then. We'll limit it to once a month. And I'm like, no. It's insane. Like they won't let it go. And but then there are other kids that we try to go for that we feel are a good fit, and we can't even get an email back.
Yeah, there's a problem there. That is blatant, like, yeah, whatever. I can't get the word out right now, but that's bullshit.
Well,
sorry.
Well, after we lost the baby, we went back to his birth mother. We actually were in the running to adopt 4 brothers.
Nice.
And in the beginning, it was very much made to seem like no one else was really interested in them, and their situation was so bizarre. And we got their full profiles, and we're reading these profiles. It's like a novel. It's so long.
Wow.
From the moment they first got into foster care up until now, is what they have in these profiles. And I'm reading and I'm like, oh my God, these poor kids. And
were they
we were
kids,
willing.
teenagers, or like?
What was that?
Were they like kids or teenagers, or
They,
can you?
I believe they range from age 3. I think the oldest one was 10 or 11. And there was 4 of them. And we bought bunk beds and stuff because it seemed like we were really gonna be the ones to get them. And then like they were like in a real hurry to get them placed. And then all of a sudden it was like they were like pushing the brakes on something. I'm like, why are you hesitating now? What's going on? And because we got our interview and everything, we got that out of the way. Like, what's going on? We couldn't get them to respond to our emails or anything. And hold on, I'm one moment.
You good though.
Oh, sorry, people want to choose now to text me. But I was like, what's going on? And I realized that there was going to be a statewide virtual adoption event. Normally, they'll have these events in an arena somewhere, kind of like a job fair.
Yeah.
There'll be different booths for different agencies, and you will go. You get to meet talk about the kids and stuff. This was going to be virtual, and I'm like, you know what? I bet you, because they have a booth there too on this virtual event, they're going to try to talk to other families about taking these kids, and then they're going to tell us, oh, they're not available or whatever. Sure enough, after that event, oh, there's so many families available. We have to look into all of them, but you guys might want to consider trying to find other kids. We were being dismissed. Where in the beginning they were like, yes, we want to place them in their home quickly. You know, and I'm like, really? So it's like we try for all these kids and we keep getting let down. We getting our hopes up, and then it doesn't work out. It's painful. And it's like, and we've gone for kids that are white, kids that are black, kids that are boys, kids that are girls.
Not only painful,
and, I mean,
but stressful, financially, emotionally, mentally, physically. Literally.
Yeah. And I mean, I made a mistake. Because they'll call me and be like, hey, we have these kids and they're available and it looks like they might be able to be adopted. Do you guys want them placed in your home? And I'm like, well, I can't make that decision by myself. My husband's at work. I got to text him and see what he says. And my husband texted me back and I thought he was saying yes. So I told them yes. And we actually got selected, but it was actually a no from Michael, not a yes. So I had these 3 girls in my house and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And that was our mistake, so I'm not perfect either.
But that's different. Like seriously, the way that they just spring on you and their language and the way that their sense of urgency to really get you to just jump at beck and call, and it might not even be anything that like comes to fruition, is from the outside looking in extremely infuriating. For coming from someone who wants kids, it's extremely infuriating. So I can't imagine what you feel and what you're going through. I can only try to.
And it's rough because then it's not only that, but you also have to have like almost an internal battle with yourself. Like I feel like immense guilt sometimes because like I see how Michael is hurting about the baby, even still now. I see how we walk into stores and he'll like be afraid to go into the kids department because he doesn't want to look at the kids' clothes and think of the baby and how cute he would look in this because, and I do the same thing sometimes too, and he has to pull me out of there. I see how my mother, when she sees a picture of him on my wall and how she looks, she had a little shrine to him in her house, a picture frame with his picture in it and one of his old bibs, like just hanging on the thing there. It's like, Mom, you do realize you just built a shrine to the kid, right? She's like, oh, I didn't mean to. But, my family suffered, my husband suffered. And like, I feel bad because like, I'm the one who wanted this. And I'm the one who, like, I kind of had like, it's not enough that I was heartbroken. I had to add guilt to it. You know what I mean? And it's hard. And then we try to move on and get other kids and let them into our lives, into our hearts. And it doesn't work out. Like our caseworker is awesome. The one that does the adoption side, she's awesome. She'll tell us how it is. Like, I don't know if that's a good fit for you guys and stuff, but there's times when she goes up to bat for us. Like this one lady was not responding to our emails. And she was like, look, you need to let the Ortiz family know that whether it's a yes or a no. So if not, they need to move on. And I'm like, yes, tell them. She's an awesome.
Have her get her to get an assistant, so they can be on top of shit, and y'all can be a little more stress free. I don't know.
Well, these people are very much overworked and underpaid.
Of course.
And it's when you asked us last time, like if we got a big funding, how would we use it in this regard? And like that's one of the ways we like more people, more pay, because like they are extremely overworked and underpaid, and underappreciated.
Yeah.
Like there's times where I lose my temper. Oh, I lose my patience with the caseworkers, and that's not always
Caseworkers
fair.
of any kind,
Yeah.
literally. Caseworkers of any kind are in short demand and overworked.
Mm-hmm. And it's not fair. And like there's sometimes where I get mad at them, sometimes justfully so. I'm not gonna try to like say that they're saints, because they're not.
Right. Of course.
But there's times where I'm like, yo, Jose, calm yourself down. But it's rough. And it's like and then you hear stuff on the news about this. And like I don't know if you are familiar with what happened here in Luzerne County with the director for the children and youth. So what had happened is in 2017, there was a backlog of Childline, like people will call Childline to report cases of abuse, neglect, anything like that for children. And it's in Pennsylvania, that's taken very seriously. It's like if you see something like that, you have to report it, or you are also in the wrong. It's hardcore. They go hard on that law. And I've had to call Childline on a few things myself for children in my care that were revealing stuff to me. And I'm like, oh, no, this has to get reported. Well, apparently in 2017, there was a backlog. There were 1,388 cases that were not even investigated yet. They weren't even touched yet. It was a backlog. That equaled 75% of all the untouched cases in the state. 75% of the
In
unresolved
Luzerne
cases
County alone.
in Luzerne County alone.
Whoo!
And that's my
Okay.
county. That's where I live. I live in Luzerne County, and we had 75 for the entire state of Pennsylvania. 75% of those cases were from us. They weren't even touched yet. They weren't investigated. So they contacted her and be like, "Yo, you got to get on this." So she ended up, her way of clearing that backlog was directing her employees to destroy the cases.
You can't be real.
It's real. And I didn't want to, because you see it all over Facebook, and I didn't want to give fake information. So I went on the Attorney General's website, the official government website for the Attorney General, and it's all there. That's how I know it was 1,388 cases that were reported and they were not investigated, and she had them destroy them. And she got caught this year in June. Now, the article mentioned 2017. I don't know what happened in 18, 19, 20.
Right.
But I know in 2020, towards the end, like in October, I called Childline and they took care of that case right away. But yeah, she had to resign, and I think it's still under investigation as we speak, as far as I can tell.
That is fucking nuts. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. And that just goes to show you, like, wow, the system is fucked.
That's messed up. Like, I get that she's being punished and whatnot, but what about those cases?
Well, investigate. I don't know if she's been punished yet. I tried to find updates and I couldn't find anything, which was infuriating, because I'm like, please tell me that she's facing jail time or something. Could you imagine how many children, like I said earlier, fell through the cracks? Like I myself had to call Childline and report something that I found out about a child. And I know that in my case, it was taken care of. They sent a social worker to speak to the child and everything. And so I knew that they handled my case. But how many cases were not taken care of? That
scary.
sickens me. And and stuff like that makes you want to, like, why should I continue? Should I give up? Like, this system is it's just doesn't seem right. And my husband wonders something, like, like he's not really sure where he stands. Like, he's in pain, and it's just it's very, disheartening. And like, the thing is, like, I still believe that this system does a lot of good too.
Yes.
Like,
But go ahead.
yeah, like we gave 4 kids a loving home, and a place to be safe while their parents got their act together, and they all were able to go back. And as far as I know, they're all doing well.
Justice for Sabrina Espinosa says, respectfully, you are an amazing couple. You are touching those children, even if it's for a short while.
Oh, thank you.
I did want to touch on that really quick because I can't help but feel your pain in a similar shared struggle. You know what I mean? And it's always like, the back's against your wall, but what else can you do but just keep pushing forward? Like you already come such a far way.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't want to see you stop because you give me an inspiration just from doing this in general, just from even embarking on this journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, like, and you know what? And I still believe that the foster care, like foster to adopt program, is a great program. Because it is a lot of older kids too, and
Yeah.
like the older. You posted actually an article on a girl that aged out.
Yes.
And her caseworker adopted her, and that's
That was
awesome.
love. Yeah.
But that doesn't happen very often. But I feel like we need to hear those success stories because they do happen. And I'm not giving up. I mean, I was just talking today with my friend Dan about this kid that we're being not offered, but like presented a chance to pursue. And like I'm talking in the positive, like the pros and cons, like should we, shouldn't we? So obviously I haven't given up. And if I haven't given up, then obviously it's because there's not just bad. But I'm not going to get anywhere and I'm not going to affect change if I'm just speaking on the good. There's a lot that needs to change. Like, I feel bad sometimes with the caseworkers that, and what they have to go through. There's actually, I think there was a training class that was talking about better relationships between foster parents and the caseworkers and the workload that they have to go through. And then, and I attended that training class, and there's problem with the kids. Like there's the last training class that we did, because as foster parents here in the state, you have to have 6 hours of training per year. Excuse me. And we went through the last one we went through, though, Michael and I, we toughed it out. We stayed the whole time. But like it felt like the Stefford moms, like they seemed like they were just reading from a teleprompter or whatever, and then they were like, and it was all about the birth parents. And I'm like, look, I understand. And they even said the words, if you go into this with the hope of adopting that child, then you're selfish.
What?
And I'm like, oh.
I don't understand.
Okay. I was like, okay. Now, for Michael and I, who went into this for the foster to adopt program, I thought that was insulting.
Yeah.
But but at the same time, though, like if you're just going in for foster care, if that's what you get called for, then yeah, most of the main goal for foster care is to reunify them with the family. I understand that.
Right.
But when you have people trying to like put it in your head, you might be able to adopt this child or that child.
Gotcha.
Like,
yeah.
And how can you have a child put in your home and in your care and not love that child?
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, it just seemed like everything is like for the parents and not the kids. And it sucks. It really does. But the thing is, you do provide a home for that kid. You do provide them a place to be safe and to cry. And I had kids, like my first foster son cried on my shoulder, left snot on my shoulder. Because he was like ugly crying because he really needed that release. And I let him do it because he finally opened up and he was bottling that up and he needed that release. He talked about his mother and his abandonment issues and stuff like that. And why, because she went MIA and she didn't try. And he says, Rico's real moms don't abandon their kids. And, this is coming from him. I made a point not to comment on that because I needed him to know that he can talk to me and I'm not going to badmouth his mom or badmouth him, but I gave him a home and I gave him a chance to release that. and so there's definitely good that comes out of this, and that's why I'm not giving up. But like it sometimes just gets hard to hold on to that thought of there's good coming out of this, because I'm human. Like, I mean, I didn't come into this to be a hero. I didn't come this to be a savior. Like, I did this to be a dad, and like it. I maybe in the future, like if I actually adopt my kids and I have my family, maybe then I'd be a little bit more open to foster care,
Of course.
and but I didn't go into this for that, and my
But
husband didn't go in for
it's
that.
exactly what you said. You didn't come into this to be a savior. You came into this to be a dad. And it
Hmm.
should not be this difficult and hard for people like us to be just as fulfilled as someone else comes easy
Hmm.
to be paying money to go through this. Um, but you do bring up a good point that like there needs to be people doing this. However, we need to be pointing out the bad so that those bad things are addressed, taken care of, so that it's easier for other people after
Hmm.
you to be able to come into this and not have as hard of a time. So there's a lot that needs to be discussed. There's a lot that
Very.
needs to be done. What is where are you? I have an idea of where you are now, but like where are you going with this? Like, or do you have any idea of where you're going? Like, do you have an idea of what you where you want to be 2 years from now with this situation?
That's actually a really hard question, for like, not hard to answer, I guess, but I mean, I wrestle with that question because it becomes many kind, like an internal battle with yourself, first of all, because like I want to be a dad more than anything, but even I struggle with the idea of whether or not I should keep doing this. And then it becomes kind of like a battle between me and my husband, because when my husband, he has very much the mentality like if he gets hurt by something, like he's like once burned, twice shy. Like, like he doesn't deal with it. It's like, you know what? This brings me no joy. This brings me no success. I'm not doing this. And there were times where he was like, I don't know if I want to continue. And I was like, but hun, we can't give up, and it did become sometimes even like fights and stuff where some very unkind things were said. And I'm like, on both sides, like not just him to me, but me to him, and we have to like recognize that and be like, oh, hold on a minute. Like,
Yeah.
hold on. And questions like, am I being selfish or is he being selfish? It's been very trying in a lot of different aspects, my mental health, even like I cried. Like I just, it sucks. And it's like I get my hopes up and then nothing comes from it, and so I don't know if I can answer like where I think I will be in I would hope I would have a child. I have a feeling that if Michael and I were to say yes to this one child with the special needs, the autistic child, that we probably would end up getting him. It's just a matter of whether or not we're okay with the whole parental visits things and all that. And it might be considered selfish on, like, some people might call me selfish. Like, why wouldn't you take that child just because he might be visiting with his family? And I'm like, because I'm supposed to be his family. Like, if they lost him, they couldn't get him back. Why do they still get to have visitations after I adopt him?
Yeah.
Now, if my child were to ask me, can I please have visits with my birth family? You're my dad. That's not going to change anything. I just want to know them. I would not be against that. Don't get me
Right.
wrong. I'm not trying to say that I'm totally against that. But like from the get go, like you're telling me I have no choice. I don't like that. So we might. I don't know if we're going to take this kid. I still don't know. So, but I would like to think that I would have a child by then. But I, and I wish I could say that I wouldn't be giving up. I'm not planning on it at this point in time. I'm not planning on giving up. Um, but because I feel like as much as I'm suffering now, once I get that success story and stuff, and I'm sitting here on like part 7 of this thing, like I'll be like, "Hey, do you want?" I said, "Jontel, do you want to meet my kid?" And if they're
Yes.
adopted, I can bring them on camera. If
Yeah.
not, then I can't. But like if they're adopted, I'd be like, "Hey, you want to meet my kid? Here's my success story." I would love that, and I would feel so good. and all this bad stuff that I'm going through right now will just be a distant memory. I'm hoping that's where I would be in 2 years. I can't
That's
guarantee
what
that it'll
I
be.
that is what I want to happen. That is what I am intending to happen, and I'm going to speak that into existence because
Thank you.
you and Mike are dear friends of mine and two very loving and caring people who deserve to have everything that you want. But also, I have, without a doubt in my mind, that you will give any kid any and everything that it needs to be a productive, um, good human being,
Mm-hmm.
Christian person, and I just really want to pour into that cup because you deserve it.
Thank
Um,
you.
and it's not a hope, it's a will. It will happen. You just gotta keep up. Just keep pushing forward. Um, Not only for yourself, but for those like me, other people
Yes.
that are really, honestly, really rooting for y'all. Um, yeah, it just personally it means a lot to me. Um, and we're gonna wrap this up a bit, but I just wanna thank you for being open and transparent always about your experiences because it's not easy.
No.
And hearing how stressful this is for you hurts. Um, but this kind of stuff needs to be talked about. It needs to be heard. People need to hear these experiences from people like us so that they can um, help fight, so that they can do it, that whatever their part is in this, whether it's becoming a social worker or a caseworker or
Yes.
fighting and becoming a lawyer, whatever the case may be, doing your part to change this narrative because it's not right and it's not okay.
Yeah, and I kind of, I did speak a lot of negative, because I feel like awareness needs to be made, and but I do want to kind of like you said, want to wrap this up, but I want to leave on a positive note,
Of course.
and say two things. It's my husband even talked about like possibly like if we after we adopt and stuff, and we're no longer like in the foster care system, like because we have our family and stuff, that he would like to like look into ways to advocate for change, because it's not just us LGBT people who want to do this, because we're just stepping into this game ourselves. But there's plenty of heterosexual couples who they have fertility issues and they can't have kids. My birthday was last week, but we're doing different things
Happy
every day this
belated.
week. Thank you. And we're doing different things every day this week to kind of celebrate my birthday, because we were supposed to go on a trip that didn't work out. And I went to the outlets yesterday, and I went to the Old Navy outlet, and I just happened to talk about my kid, or the kid that, you know what? No, I'm still gonna call him my kid. Um, and she talked about foster care and how she was thinking about it because she can't have kids, and I was like, you see, it's not just us. And so like he said, like he would love to like be able to speak on this and see how he can get involved, like, would it be politically or whatever, to kind of like fight for change for this after the fact, because he doesn't want to make waves now when we're trying to adopt.
Right.
And I thought that was cool. I don't know how serious he is with that, but he did bring it up, but that's cool. But I want to say that as negative as this is, if I didn't go through this, I would never, even though it ended, I would never have had the experience with that baby that I had. And that boy was a gift. I love him so much. I miss him a lot. Sorry. Um, I loved all the kids that I had with me, but this kid, like, it was a special bond that I wasn't expecting to feel. He was my little cub, is what I called him, and like I hear his laugh. Like if I'm feeling sad about anything else, I'll put a video where I hear his laugh, and it lifts my spirits. And I would not trade that experience for anything in the world. And I know if they were ever to offer him back to me, I would take him back in a heartbeat. I don't care if it's like he's 5 years old now and doesn't remember me. I still will take him back, because a dad's love doesn't end. I'm sorry. And I would not trade that for anything. And there are many experiences like that that people can have with these kids. And if you're feeling that, imagine what they feel. You know, I I have a regret that with the one girl, I couldn't bring myself to say I love you to her because I was still hurting about the baby boy. And I wish that I could bump into her somewhere and tell her, "Hey, I love you too. You were an awesome girl and stuff, you know, and I loved having you as a foster daughter, you know. It's an amazing experience. And the fact that, you know, she was able to say I love you to me all the time shows that, you know, she felt loved. And I wouldn't trade that for anything. So it's like it's definitely has its good moments. It definitely has moments that make you feel like this is worth it. There's definitely things I need to change. And that's why I speak up on that with this here. And maybe once we have our kid and we have our family, Michael and I can speak out louder and say this needs to change, and this is why, you know. And I think even if, God forbid, the worst were to come and we don't end up having a family, I'm still gonna speak up so that maybe the next person can, you know. But yeah, it's something that I feel like people please don't be discouraged, but ask questions and speak up, because like with anything, nothing's gonna change if we stay quiet and just accept it as the status quo. Like it's not gonna change, and we need to speak up, and we will once I have my kids.
You make me proud, Jose, because everything you just said is the embodiment of the Leon block. And we can't
Look at
forget.
her like crying messes here.
I know, right? We can't give up on things that we know need to be changed and know that they're not right. And some people are too scared to speak up. So even if you are scared, because sometimes I'm still scared to speak up, but I do anyway. For the people that are able to, just do it. And that's where I want to leave on that note, is just keep fighting, keep sticking up. I'll get back with you in a second. I'm going to do the outro. Y'all be good. Have a good one, everyone. Wow.